Uh, we have started to ascend. Looks like there's a mountain pass that. Uh,
for the passport transported in Mongolia. Now I'm heading to. The wind chill is pretty extreme at the moment, and I took my gloves out to grab the baklava, and now my hands are complete.
Меняется.
Our place
Если
change
дождь
very
сильный.
good fall. If it's very high, it's gonna end very soon.
okay, but if it is chip rain, then it will go for a long
Yes,
time.
yes.
Yeah, leaving my guest house now. They are the owners, very nice guys. I think I had one of the most memorable stays of my trip here. I would always remember this stay. The place is called Altai Chadir. That's the name of the place. Yeah, so it has rained in the morning, and I was actually not sure if I'll be able to leave today. I have to leave today because today is Saturday and tomorrow the border to Mongolia is closed. Today also the border closes at 6 p.m. So I have to be there before 6 p.m. Right now the time is it's 12 p.m. So I think I should be able to make it through the border today. Yeah, I was really tempted to kind of stay at the place more, but well, also I was actually not paying as much as like what the place deserves, or whatever at least they put up as a price, and I did not feel it good, morally I can stay like that. But anyway, like the border thing is there, I have to cross today. Winters are coming. If I don't cross today, then I am here till Monday, which is like 2 days gone. So I decided to leave. Well, the people have been extremely nice. I mean, I got to experience the Altai culture, and the lady of the house, well, again I forgot to ask her name. She told a lot of things about Altai culture, and then I and Aisana, their daughter, we went to the stream where I had the water. Well, I don't know if the stream water cured me, but yeah, I had a better night today as compared to yesterday. So yeah, looks like I'm recovering from my cold, which I had picked in Omsk, I think, staying in the Omsk hostel. Yeah, that's pretty much for today. Wow, the autumn leaves they look nice on the road. View of some snow peak. I think this is probably the second time I'm having this view. We have started to ascend. Looks like there's a mountain pass that we are supposed to go up to, or I don't know. Yeah, looks like that. I'm 122 kilometers away from Tashanta, and seems like the mountains have gone far and wide. They are not close anymore. The road has started to look more flat. Yeah, feels more like Mongolia, I guess, or Kazakhstan. There are snow-capped peaks further up, and there are quite a few of them actually. I thought there's only one or two, but it seems like there's an entire range here. Yeah, interesting. So seems like we were not ascending. Seems like we were not ascending the mountain pass. Seems like we are just getting higher. Yeah, seems more like a high plateau. There's one thing about the Altai roads which I found really unique and fun. So, you would have seen a lot of twists and turns, but they are mostly are at the same level. Or you will see up and down, but then there will be straight line. In Altai, I have seen like there's a twist and then it will go up, and then you can't really see anything in front of you. Is it like so? It's a combination of turn and going down. And I have not seen this in any other roads. I have not traveled like the entire world yet, but like it wasn't there in Pamir and Indian roads, the hairpin bends are of a different kinds. You can always see what's come ahead of you, but here in the Altai road, sometimes it happens that you are kind of turning and you are ascending, and then you have no clue that it's gonna descend, but is it going left or is it going right? So yeah, it becomes challenging, but it's also very exciting. It's like you are looking forward to what is next. Just entered Kosh Agach city. I don't know if on my back if the gates are still visible, but this is the city I was planning to stay yesterday, but then I found Aysana and her family, and then I ended up staying at Altai Chadar. Word about petrol in Altai region. So till Bish, and after Bish till Orungudai, where I stayed before I stayed here in Altai Chadar. The petrol was not a problem, regular petrol. It was cheap. It was actually cheaper than the rest of the Russia. Like 92 petrol was 50 rubles or so, while in other parts of Russia it was 52. But this region is here the petrol has become more expensive. The 92 petrol is 55 ruble, and I thought it was probably the Opti or the Nika, because these are the only two petrol stations I am seeing, and these are the ones selling it for expensive, and maybe there's a Rosneft that would come where it would be cheaper, but that didn't happen. So I don't think there are any Rosneft in this petrol stations. There's police here, and that's why everybody is riding so slow. I was wondering why everybody is riding so slow. Like, that's the ending sign of Kosh Agach. The crosswinds are back and there are extreme crosswinds here. I have to tilt my bike to the right and myself as well. Yeah, but I think I have seen worse, so it's okay. I was thinking of stopping in Tashanta and maybe having a coffee, but this looks like a very small town. I can't see any cafes or anything. I think Kosh Agach probably was a better bet. I also didn't see any petrol station here. I have enough petrol to reach my destination, and apparently the border is at Tashanta. Okay, so I don't have to go far. I have actually reached the border town itself. I have reached the border itself. Okay, I will stop and maybe I'll try to look in the map if there's any cafe or any petrol station, and then yeah, otherwise I'll just proceed to the border. Okay, we have reached the Russian border, and yeah, waiting to be called. It's 5 o'clock, just out of the Russian checkpost. You can see it in my background. And yeah, this is the first time that I had to pick fight with people in the queue because they were bypassing me. And I think a couple of people did, and then the third person also tried to do. And then I just went and kind of complained to the an officer standing nearby in English, and thankfully the officers understood English. Like, get me in the queue, and yeah, but this happened for the first time. Well, Russian borders are always like a little unorganized, and you have to remember where you are in the queue because nobody is really monitoring the queue. It took me 2 hours. It is 5 o'clock right now. I have reached at 3 o'clock, and now I am heading to the Mongolian border. Apparently the Mongolian checkpoint is around 80 kilometers away from the Russian checkpoint, is what is being told to me by Edwin, the Malaysian motorbiker. And yeah, I actually wanted to use a toilet, and I did see the toilet on the Russian side, but well, yeah, for some reason in hurry, I think I asked the lady who was opening the gate. I wanted to ask, but then again, like I said something in English and I don't think they understood, and then the lady was like yeah, she opened the door and then I had to come out. Looks like it rained on this road. In a hindsight, I think when it rained in the morning and I couldn't stop early, and then I reached here, and then this rain seems like a fresh rain. So when I was there at the checkpoint, then it must have rained here. So yeah, whatever happens for good. I got stuck at the checkpoint and I was cursing myself that well, yeah, it's been 2 hours. Well, it's better than getting drenched on the way. Okay, I think we have reached the Mongolian border. Yes, and it was only 18 kilometers, not 80. Hello. Hello.
Anglia.
Yeah, I am from India.
India.
There.
Sure, okay. You want this?
Yes, only one. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this was not the checkpoint. Well, this was a checkpoint. This was not really the border control. I think that should come later. I was actually wondering why there are huts and all built here when there is like the border control is further ahead. And this point was actually around 18 kilometers from the Russian border point. And let's see when the actual Mongolian entry point comes. Okay, so I can see the real border, the entry point, and yeah, it's around 23 kilometers. Yeah, so there is 23 kilometers of no man's land. Hello. Sorry. Number P011 LGW. Money for 5. Okay, 1 minute. 100 Turgik Mannat. This is 30 rubli. Okay. Ulaanbaatar. Sorry, change niyatu 100. Спасибо. Okay, so they were supposed to take 1000 Turgik Mannat, which is around 30 rubles, but since I didn't have change, they did not take any money. So all good, I guess. Now I have to park my bike and Yeah, let's see what is this about. Okay, customs done. Now we are heading for the passport control. So customs done as in my bike is now imported in Mongolia, and yeah, there's no money involved. Done with passport control. It was fairly quick. I think the passport control lady has some problems with my e-visa number. I think probably she doesn't see a lot of visa holders, because mostly I think Mongolian people cross, so land borders, yeah. And then the import also happened. They didn't ask for any money. I got the import document. Now the final checkpoint. I think I'm supposed to give back the slip. The okay. Okay, so they have asked me to come inside. This has never happened on any of the borders before. Let's see what they have got for me. Or okay, there are other vehicles stopped as well, so looks like this is the standard operating procedure. So they actually asked me to come in, and I think other vehicles standing here is because they make insurance for the vehicles. And as usual, like Uzbekistan border, I said I don't have any money. That this time they asked me questions. So you don't have any rubles, any tenges, nothing. I said I made Mir card. I don't have any money. So just let me go. So far I have not made any motorbike insurance in any of the countries. It has been okay. Well, if you're unlucky, if the police stops and asks you, then well, you have a problem. But then I spoke to Edwin also. I don't know how Edwin didn't make insurance. I'll ask once I reach the hostel, because he also crossed the same border, and I don't know if they were not functioning then. They said that there will be a checkpoint after 30 kilometers for insurance. Most probably I'm going to tell them the same thing, that I didn't have any money, so I didn't get the insurance. I'll get it in Ugly or Ulgi, which is the town where I'm headed to. Okay, welcome to Mongolia. Hello.
How are you?
Good.
When you come back in here?
No, not here.
Insurance?
Insurance, actually I don't have money, so I will buy in Ulgi. Ulgi. Yes, I told him, like they asked for the insurance, then I okay, 1 minute. Okay, I don't know what he was trying to ask, but I think he wanted to check if I have insurance, or maybe he wanted to check my insurance, or I don't know if he wanted to sell me insurance. But he started asking like, well, he didn't seem very sure about his ask, so I also felt very confident, and then I said it's like the person said that I don't have money, so I can buy in Ulgi, and he said okay, and then he asked me, are you an Indian, and I said yes, and then he said, isn't it too cold for you? And I was like, yeah, so that's why I'm trying to hurry to reach Ulgi. I was curious as to how Edwin happened to manage to evade the insurance on the border, because now I understand that the insurance guy was basically telling that there is a person checking for insurance after 30 meters, and that military guy was the person. I somehow understood as after 30 kilometers. So I wasn't expecting this guy to be checking insurance. But anyway, yeah, all's well. I don't think there's going to be any more insurance check. Some nice landscape of Mongolia. Reminds me a bit of Kazakhstan, maybe. No, Kazakhstan didn't have any mountains actually. So yeah, this is somewhere between Kazakhstan and Pamir, I would say. Yes, it is like that. Well, from bumpy road we have now come to road under construction. Well, yeah, Mongolian roads reminds me of the old Indian era, or the roads of the old times of India. Well, I hope I don't get any loose gravel or loose sand here. Looks like this was a mountain pass, and that's why the road was bad, because I was also seeing snow around me. Okay, now this is going to be tricky because I will descend, and the loose road can potentially pose danger, and I do see a lot of loose road. Okay, let's see how this ride comes along. Yeah, it's not that difficult also. I think if I just stay slow, I think this particular line doesn't have a lot of loose gravel, although the descent is reasonably steep. They usually don't build this steep a descent. Okay, maybe I should stop recording. Good roads are back, and thankfully I also didn't fall. All good. Yeah, falling on that would have been a catastrophe. I mean, I'm not that bad rider either. Yeah, the wind chill has become extremely yeah, whatever you call nerve biting, or well, whatever it is. I can't close my visor completely, because then the fog starts to form, and if I keep it open, then I face the wind chill in my face. So yeah, I'm going to wear the Veronica's headscarf or baklava now. The wind chill is pretty extreme at the moment, and I took my gloves out to wear the baklava, and now my hands are completely frozen. But yeah, should be fine, I guess. 8 more kilometers to go, and that's the first view of Ulgi city.